Oh, there we go. I can see my face now. I could only see a black screen, but now we're good. Okay, welcome to Give Out But Don't Give Up with me, Andy Swan. It's another Monday afternoon or morning or evening, depending on where you are in the world. I feel a little bit frivolous today. I've had a week where I've been bashed by the world, like most of us have, and I think we're all looking at the sunshine outdoors and getting a little bit sick of the way things are at the moment. Who knows what's to come next? Rather than me give out, because I could be here all day, this week I'm getting a little bit bored of just talking about COVID-19, giving out about banks and other people and things like that. So I would much rather speak to someone far more interesting than me. Okay, remember, while we are live, you can contact the show at any time. You can tweet me at Andy Swan with 2 N's in Swan. Go to the website andyswan.io, 2 N's in Swan again. Visit the Give Out But Don't Give Up page where you can submit your questions, you can submit your comments, and you can also watch live and view all the other episodes. Please follow us on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, and then you will get notifications when we go live every week. Sorry we have started late this week. We had a huge technical meltdown. But with no further ado, let me welcome today's guest. Really pleased to have James Randall with me. James is, well, you might know James from the Netflix stroke BBC show. It's called The £1 Million Menu in the UK, but if you watch it in the US, I think it's called The $1 Million Menu. He had a restaurant, Hollings, that you would have seen on there. We're going to talk a little bit about that, but we're going to talk more about James's work with Sprit Studio, which is his drinks and hospitality consultancy company. He has some really real insight on the industry that has been completely decimated by the current things. None of us have been to the pub in far too long, which is why we're all getting way too stressed. So, James, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me. Firstly, that's inaccurate. I am not more interesting to listen to than you, but thank you. That's kind. Let's hope there's some sort of pubs to go back to, I suppose, is the present worry. Sprit Studio, we're a hospitality consultancy. So obviously, thankfully, we don't have a site, so we're a little bit more insulated. But equally, it's incredibly tough times, and all of the operators and clients that we deal with are struggling on various different levels.
So what? I mean, what's the feeling out there at the moment? Obviously, we've been through. So we had Ali Wolf on the show a few weeks back. He runs a music venue, and we kind of had him on at the stage of the world is in complete panic. No one knows what's going on, and now we're like 6 weeks into this. What's the general feeling out there? Has everybody just hidden and is kind of just licking their wounds, waiting to work out what the hell to do, or is there still panic, or is there resignation? Like, what's the general feeling?
I think it was quite. I suppose. Interesting, or it was quite a pride in the industry, the way that it essentially this moving juggernaut had to stop, and lots of operators did the right thing and listened to the advice, and as you say, I suppose the public health bunker mentality, and just the way it stopped so abruptly was sort of honourable, I suppose. There was no fighting. It's just this is for the greater good, and I think there's been patience over the last sort of 6 weeks, and some of the bigger operators are starting to look about how they're going to re-enter the landscape and re-enter the market. There's sort of multiple conversations going on. There's Hospitality Union and Jonathan Downey's sort of campaign to get a national rent-free period, which they are quite open about. Is not necessarily a complete concept, but it's the best we have at the moment. So I think there's been a lot of learning, a lot of sharing. I think everybody's sort of collaboratively trying to work out how we reopen, I suppose.
Absolutely, and so let's jump straight ahead to that before we go into some of it. Like, what's going to be the situation if everything got lifted tomorrow? How many people are we going to lose? How many independent traders we're going to lose, restaurants, bars? How many chains do you think are going down? Is everybody going to be able to come back, or is there going to be some empty stores out there?
I suppose the immediate response is it completely depends on the government response, and it depends on the support packages. It depends on the legislation. It's what that legislation and directives of how people can operate come July, August, September 2021, whenever it is. That's the key. I think I can't speak for the whole industry, but there's going to be some there's going to be a lot of losses. Very sadly, there's going to be a lot of operators that simply won't be able to reopen. I suppose the industry has been struggling for 18, probably 2 years. Everyone's forgotten this term Brexit. It's just sort of been swept aside for now, but it's been pillared for the last 2 years. So there's a lot of operators that were. This is almost the straw, the final straw, and it's incredibly sad. But yeah, as I say, I don't have the jeopardy of a site, and that we don't have 15, 20, 100 employees, and so we're a little bit better positioned to just offer advice. But I think, it's
crazy time. So I'm wondering. Like, I don't know the industry clearly. I mean, obviously, I've been known to go to a pub occasionally. I've eaten out the odd time, but like I would guess that we've seen over the last few years some major kind of mid-range restaurant chains go under. You're thinking clearly like the Jamie Oliver stuff and things of that size, as Byron Burgers being in a bit of trouble, and those kind of mid kind of family eating kind of chains have come that expanded really quickly, have come under a lot of pressure. But it may be that some of them can't continue. However, I guess like my question would be, and a concern really, is there a big risk? We've seen over the last 5-10 years, and particularly given that you were in a £1 million menu and what that was about was like, new concepts popping up and trying something for a few days. We've seen this kind of, this pop-up culture of new creative like restaurant and bar concepts and different approaches to drinks and different approaches to ingredients, like popping up, whether it's in like marketplaces or whether it's in, they're starting small and they maybe only have one tiny operation. Are we gonna lose a load of creativity from the hospitality industry over this? Are they the ones that are most risk? And if they were to go, does that mean we lose something really valuable?
Unquestionably, I think that tapestry of global cuisine or creative cuisine or whatever you want to label it as is a huge asset. I'm talking very specifically about the UK market here, and I think that unquestionably without risk. I think losing creativity, I would suggest. My gut suggests no. I think it's the opposite. I think creativity is going to have to flourish, and there's going to be change of models. There's going to be companies that spring out of this that work with landlords on. We know some guys residency. This is residency that they're going to launch the market with some really sort of. They're essentially going to host pop-ups in restaurants and support the whole ecosystem there. So I think creativity will have to flourish. And as I come back to it, probably the legislation and how the government say we can operate as a society is key to this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're seeing a lot. We've obviously, in the meantime, had this thing where takeaways allowed and those kind of things. But I'm seeing, when I've done my daily exercise. You're seeing that actually a lot of places aren't even doing takeaway. They've just kind of shuttered things. Now, are there examples of people who are really making a go of things under this like takeaway approach or starting to change their business model already?
I think it's interesting today. Restaurant Group JKS have relaunched or been rebranded for the time being. Their Bao Buns have got 2 free sites for Bao, and this is the first day they're moving into delivery, so they've waited a while and they've assessed. And I think there was the smaller operators have had to, I suppose, hustle or pivot or whatever you want to term. The term is quite quickly because their jeopardy is higher. The guy Top Cuvée and Free Sheets, I think is probably the best example we've seen of a pivot that turned themselves into Shop Cuvée, and their whole offering has gone takeaway. But I suppose it's completely unprecedented, and for an industry to have the government tell them that they can't operate. There's no set structure. There's no set response. So I think everybody had to take some time to work out what on earth this is.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. There was no time, there was no notice, and then all of a sudden you had to do something about it, and that takes time. So yeah, I guess it's interesting to see how people are working it out as they go. And do you think we're going to start seeing some real kind of innovation in business models? You know, if the industry has been struggling, you know, since Brexit and pricing and things like that over the last couple of years, do you think we're going to start seeing the fact that people might go, you know what, we don't need a restaurant. If everyone's going to start staying at home, if people don't immediately come out, and we'll pick up on that in a minute, when social distancing and things get lifted and restrictions, are people just going to start saying, we're only going to do takeaway, we're going to run a virtual restaurant, you know, the restaurant brand will be hidden in a kitchen and just for delivery only, and we're seeing that from some of the delivery companies are already offering those kitchen spaces for brands without having a restaurant you can visit. Do you think that's a possible trend we could see?
I don't. Maybe it's aspirational, but it's something that suggests that human nature hopefully wants to always be convivial and share restaurants is more than just the product, and it's the ambience and the holistic experience. So my hope is that what you said is a part of the business model, and it's more when you open a site or when you're operating a site, you'll consider lots of different revenue streams, but you will still be a restaurant at the core of what you do. But as presently we don't know what parameters councils and governments in the UK will let sites reopen. So I think that's going to be the key.
And is there a part that I guess the landlords are going to have to play in this? Because if you know, I know everyone's under pressure at the moment, but if people are charging full rent and not knocking that down and things like that, then obviously restaurants are gonna start giving up, because you know, getting back in the game is difficult enough, but then trying to keep up if there's no leeway from your landlord or any understanding to give you that flexibility. Is there a hidden part of the hospitality industry, you know, which is the landlords and the other parts of the supply chain that make it happen, who need to kind of maybe innovate or think differently or be more lenient?
I think unquestionably the landlords are integral to this conversation. As I say, we'll share some links afterwards to some interesting articles and some interesting movements. But I suppose the loudest and strongest is the national rent-free period, 9 months, putting a pause on rents. Specifically for the hospitality industry, and I think that's going to be key. Essentially, there's no revenue at the moment, and there's some awful stories of landlords deferring and charging rents this last quarter. There's no revenue there. It's not legally. You're not legally allowed to take money. So that simply doesn't help.
And it's crazy, you know. And I know it's not just the hospitality industry, but where landlords, whether it's offices, whether it's restaurants, whether it's bars, whatever it might be, where landlords are demanding money when people can't make money. It seems a crazy short-termist business model, because if you then send those companies bust, you end up with an empty space, gaining no money, just for the sake of 2 months' money that you were putting them under pressure over.
I think that's certainly the case. But equally, there's some landlords are quite open that they also have bills. The whole ecosystem is based on, I suppose, leveraged debt. So they still have to pay their mortgage on those properties. So it's I think it's simplistic for us to. It's probably preferable to lump it onto the landlords, but actually it's not quite that simple.
So I guess it's probably fair to say that, and we have warned people there might be swears in this. So would you say it's fair to say that we're all fucked?
Do you know what? I suppose some days that's the case, but the last week, I suppose maybe my social media feed, which is largely restaurants, has seen sort of activity, and it sounds really. There's a charity called Deliver Aid that has been delivering restaurant quality food to the NHS, and that they're doing some fantastic work, and sort of some semblance of normality coming back. Not in any way, but as I say, with JKS launching takeaway and people starting to look to Atlanta and Hong Kong, which was a bit of a shit show to be honest. But looking around the world at how and learning how others have reopened. So yeah, I think we are a bit fucked, but creatively, I'm sure we can. Some people will be able to get through this.
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, I know. Let's start talking about that. So once we come out the other side of this, I know you've run a survey with Spirit Studio recently on what's it going to look like. What are people's attitudes when we come out the other side of this? Because actually, with anything, demand is key. How consumers respond, how your audience kind of demands your products or services is what kind of defines your success. So what has your survey told you? Are people, as soon as like the restrictions get lifted, are people going to go out? Are they going to start going to the bars? Are they going to start going to restaurants? Or is there this wariness that people are now so terrified of each other they don't want to be in a small room with anyone they're not immediately related to?
Yeah, no, it's very interesting. So we were quite mindful that we had obviously there's this whole crisis is underpinned by health and sad things occurring and people dying. So we sort of waited a few weeks till we felt that there was it was an appropriate to start looking to the future. So we just put out a little sort of 20 question eating out again, sort of a little bit aspirational and just trying to sort of pull together what it looks like when we reopen. And I think the onus is going to be on hygiene, and we'll publish the report as the week goes on. But hygiene and the trade-off between that distancing and the restaurant experience and how you merge those. If 2 meters distancing, there was an article in The Guardian at the weekend, Ross Norman and Gary Usher was saying it's simply, they've modelled that in their restaurants. That doesn't exist. That's not something that can occur. So if the government legislate that we need 2 meters between tables, then we are fucked. You're right. But it's about navigating through that. So yeah, we equally whether people will order more takeaways and whether they'll order more home deliveries, which I think is a simple yes, was what we got.
Awesome. And do you think is there a chance that people will start cooking more? There'll be less demand because people suddenly get really good at cooking and start cooking great food at home, or you just think that's not how people operate around here?
I think that it's so integral, the restaurant experience and sharing, and humanity is based on looking other people in the eye, and that I think we will have had this lockdown for 8, 12, 15 weeks. I think there'll be an immediate bounce of people desperate to try and interact again, rather than just their household. So hopefully there's an initial bounce, I suppose. But yeah, I mean. Also, surely everyone's going to get a bit bored of cooking at home. No, I am.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, right. On that note, then. So tell me. I have no idea what's going on with your picture. You keep like expanding and contracting. It's quite exciting, but terrifying.
Oh, wow, sorry.
But it's nice. I guess you've got a dynamic camera. It's lovely. Right. So, when all this lifts, from your point of view, do you go? What's your first port of call? Restaurant or bar?
It's interesting. We've been talking about this a lot, and not your first meal, but who are you going to support first? And I think it will be supporting those family businesses. So probably May and Harvey, a coffee shop that's about 4 minutes from our flat.
So you think so you'll make a conscious decision. You're going to go somewhere independent that needs that money through the tills. Do you think a lot of other people will do that, or do you think people will just go wherever they think?
I think unquestionably they will. I think the first 5 places that people will go will be, we want to support that, and then maybe some sort of historic or emotional anniversary place where you had your first date or whatever. Anything that people will be, there'll be an emotive element to it. And I think, but then consumer fatigue will probably fit it. People will want to return to going to restaurants and bars because of food and ambience and drinks, and not because of a charitable or a support. So I don't think that's probably got 2 months, and then that's done.
Nice. So What
will you go first?
Well, the only thing I can think of, particularly today, I'm going to go to the closest place that can give me a really nice pint of Guinness that isn't an O'Neill's. Not that I have anything against O'Neill's, but to your point, I'd like to go to a nice local pub and just have a Guinness. Just a quiet one, and just weep slowly into it for everything we've been through in the last couple of months, you know?
Yeah.
Just cry into a Guinness at a bar. That tells you a lot about my life at the moment. So what would your first drink be? I mean, I know you're a fan of more kind of sophisticated drinks than a straight up pint of Guinness. So what would your first drink order be when you get to a bar?
It's a misconception that expertise lies with more broader drinks. But I would imagine a Guinness and a Negroni.
Nice, together.
Yeah,
the double hit. Nice.
Yeah, definitely.
A long night out. All right, so where's your first meal? Your first proper meal out? What are you gonna eat and where are you gonna go?
Oh wow, I don't know. There's literally too many to think of, but I sort of missed the Dell quite a bit. I don't want to. That's Corbin King's place. I mean, they're backed by quite a large fund, so they probably they don't necessarily the most the support. Probably should go somewhere else first. But yeah, I missed that. The set menu for $10.95. You can't go wrong.
Nice. How many people?
Not either anymore.
See, I'm going to go. There's a local tapas place, like a family-run place near where I'm locked in. I'm heading straight there. That's where I'm going. So, how many people? What percentage of the population do you think is going to waste this opportunity and go straight to McDonald's?
Oh, I don't know. McDonald's breakfast. The second that's back on delivery, or Uber Eats, I think. I'm all over that. But yeah, I would imagine. Yeah, there's probably some sort of happiness index based on McDonald's. That once that happens, that's a good signifier for a country. But yeah, a lot of people.
Nice. And so right, let's think. So
also just to jump in, I think personally they should be lauded as they didn't legally they could operate, but they shut down 130,000 people employed in this country to look at the landscape and see what's safe.
Nice, yeah, and fair play to that. There's a lot to be said for responsibility in these times, which is a good example to set. So from your point of view, if you're going to give people advice who might be watching this, who aren't part of the industry, but ways that they could best support the industry, kind of like right now or going forward, what would be like your top pieces of advice for people to do right now, and ways that they might be able to get engaged, with some of their favourite places while they might be shut?
I would immediately send people to Deliver Aid, who are there's a donation section. So there's that donation then goes into funding this food from various restaurants, which is a fantastic cause. Gift vouchers. I bought one last night for someone's birthday. That's quite aspirational. We think about the future, and that's a lot. Leroy are doing a restaurant in Shoreditch. All of the gift voucher money is going straight to their staff. So equally, I know. You can get quite good deals, I suppose. Richard Corrigan opened a site, unfortunately closed obviously within 2 weeks, but they're offering 20%, 25% on top of that voucher. So if you, it's worth 25% more. So if you're thinking about Christmas parties or big family dues, I don't quite know what that looks like in 6 months' time, but that's a good way to support. And yeah, there's some really Instagram Live is, I mean, this is similar to what we're doing now, but there's lots of agencies and brands and restaurants that Alessandra Dukes is telling you how to make martinis at home, and Number 3 and Harris Gin and Nick Stranger on Pepple. They're doing some fantastic content, I suppose, that it's quite engaging.
So get out there, look up the restaurants for your favourite bars or restaurants, and look up the websites for your favourite bars or restaurants, and see, they're probably doing something cool, or get on social media and see what they're doing, because you might actually get some value from it, and also some good content.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, as I say, the various bodies that UK Hospitality and petitions and campaigns to get to the heart of government to this, whatever this future looks like. lots of the restaurants on social media are promoting this. So get behind those schemes.
Nice. And is there, do you know, a website for the charity you mentioned? If we want to give it a plug.
On Instagram, it's deliver_aid.
Okay, cool. So Deliver Aid. All right, excellent. I'm sure people can find that through the search engine of their choice. Not that anybody chooses. That everyone goes to the same one. Awesome. Right. So before we finish, I'm going to give you a crystal ball. You've got to look into the crystal ball. 12 months from now, what does the world look like?
I think we'll still be talking about whether Liverpool should have won the league. I don't know. What's 12 months? What would that be? That'd be April next year. I think we will be operational. I think restaurants and bars will be open. I think that there will be significant restrictions, and there will be a lot of empty sites.
Excellent. Which in itself poses opportunities, whether it's for people to think differently, different ways to fill those sites, different ways to generate revenue streams, different ways to create that experience, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's underlined by a bit of sadness, and some people will lose jobs and money, but there will be opportunity, I'm certain, to be creative and launch.
Nice, and that goes for any industry, I guess. You know, kind of hardship is an opportunity for creativity. Go out and create your masterpiece. Awesome. Right, just before we round up, tell everybody where they can find you on social media and all your stuff.
So Sprit Studio on social media, spritstudio.co.uk, and sounds crass, but on Netflix, if you search £1 Million Menu, episode 3, you can see a slightly fatter me and Ronnie Murray, on there.
I mean, I'm not going to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it yet, but it was a little bit controversial. So
I mean, thank fuck we did what we did.
Actually. I mean, you got lambasted for it at the time. I'm pretty sure I remember, but with hindsight, I guess you did the right thing.
Yeah, it was a fantastic experience and great show. I mean, it was ever so slightly edited in a manner that, well, no, it was a fair representation. But yeah, it was. Have a look on that.
Awesome. And we can't really say much more about that without spoiling it for everyone. But look up the £1 Million Menu on Netflix, episode 3. Look up James on social media. James, thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. It was great. And once we're out the other side of this, we'll get together and have that Guinness, and I'll get you a Negroni on the side.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Take it easy. Bye-bye. Okay, that was James Randall from Sprit Studio, who you will have also seen on the £1 Million Menu. So much to think about there, and I think all of this stuff kind of goes across industries. You know, whether it's landlords of offices, landlords of restaurants who are squeezed or squeezing, and whether it's your revenue streams that have been changed. Everybody's literally having to think on their feet right now, and there should be some huge amounts of creativity coming out of this. But you've got to let it happen. I mean, I've heard from a lot of corporations this last couple of weeks that they're stopping their innovation activity. They're all focusing on their core business and kind of going inwards. And I think the biggest risk we have as human beings right now is if we all stop and we start to look inwards. So please get out there, look up your favourite brands, look up your favourite places to go, look at different ways to engage them, look at different ways to support them, to support each other, and continue to do so. I'll be back next week with another Give Out But Don't Give Up. In the meantime, find me andyswan.io, 2 N's in Swan. There's all the information on the show on the page. I'd love it if you could subscribe on YouTube. Love it if you could tell 3 other people. Send me an email. Find me on Twitter at @AndySwan, Instagram at HumanAndySwan. I will post a link for this video so you guys can all share it. But it's best when you join us live. Send in your questions for next week. We're going to try and get more questions on the air. I've been messing about badly with a lot of the technology, but I think I've just had a breakthrough. So we should be better at live questions. The show will improve. Have a great week. Stay safe, stay happy, stay creative, and remember, give out but don't give up. See you next time.